How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Sixkilla and welcome back to Root Double. It is time for us to continue our school life, just hanging out, learning BC and having terrible time jumps that involve horrific events. I'm looking forward to the next one of those. Anyway, let's carry on, shall we? Class ended and thus lunch break began. Natsuhiko left the classroom and made the arduous journey through the whirlpool of telepathy. Miss Munakata, I gave it a lot of thought and finally made up my mind. Huh? All things considered, I've decided that I really do need to talk to you face to face after all. Will you come to the roof after school? Okay, that's all I asked for. You've conveyed your feelings well enough through telepathy, so there might not be much left to talk about. But still, we really do need to meet face to face. Yeah. Now that the whole school knows about our situation, there's nothing left to fear at all. I promise I'll come to the roof for you, so don't you dare run away. Well, whether I say okay or not is a different story. I look forward to seeing you after school. Bye. Okay. Wow, how bittersweet. That's youth for you. Why are we even bothering with baseball at a time like this? Man, Ben Azaki. I guess we're still incapable of directional telepathy. Yeah, you want to do it? What do you want to do, Shin? I'm completely open after school. Looks like there's going to be a love confession on the roof. Want to go mess with them? Hey, you idiot, don't you dare get in the way of love. I was joking. Well, I might as well do something. So how do we help? So you can confess calmly. We can ward off any curious onlookers or something. That sounds good. Wait, why are we still talking about this with telepathy? Ah, crap. Looks like it's become a bad habit of mine. Hello, everybody. We are Angel, Kamiya, and the Communicators. I bet everyone's dying to see the exciting conclusion of the storybook romance of Miss Munakata and Mr. Nameless. So, to send them our blessings, here at the Light Music Club, we'd like to play one of our songs. Please give a listen to Myself, Yourself. It's not even your song. Try to play an original song for once. Your band name sucks. But I think it's a good name. Natsuhiko ignored the commotion in his head and muttered, Geez, another complete waste of time today. Agreed. Now, slow and steady wins the race. Does it now? Well, I admit the last part of the discussion was kind of interesting. When Natsuhiko shrugged his shoulders, Sully tugged at his sleeve and implored him. More importantly, let's eat already. We don't have infinite lunchtime. True. How about we all eat together on top of the roof? Let's go buy food first. The three of them made their way. They stocked up on baked goods and started heading for the roof. Natsuhiko bought a katsu sandwich and a yakisoba bread. Mashido bought a sandwich, donut, waffle, and pudding. As for Salia, she bought 7 varieties of bread in total. Salia, you sure bought a lot, huh? Because I wasn't sure which ones would taste good, so I wanted to try a variety. I definitely didn't give in to gluttony. Just curious how they taste. Well, okay. Let's leave it at that. Mashido and Natsuhiko looked at each other and smiled wryly. That's obviously not the case, as she kept saying how hungry she was a while ago. Perhaps Sully was ashamed of her own gluttony. But you're not one to talk, Mashido. All you bought was tons of sweet-looking foods. That's true, the girl here can eat a lot more than you'd expect. Would it hurt you to choose between either donut or the waffle? Don't worry, my body's built not to get fat no matter how much I eat. As they were having that conversation, they reached a turn in the hallway, when suddenly... Oh shit! Whoa there! Mashido ended up tumbling down. It's Jin. She apparently ran into a woman on the other side of the turn. Ow, ow, ow! Oh boy, you okay? The woman that bumped into Mashido reached out her hand. My bad, I wasn't looking. Can you stand? Yes, I'm fine. I wasn't looking where I was going either. Wait, huh? Mashido exclaimed in surprise as she got up. Aren't you... Have we met something? Mashido, do you know her? We were at the scene of the accident, remember? Those words jogged Natsuhiko's memory. Ah, so you must be... the rescue worker that responded to the traffic accident 3 days ago. Relax, we're on the scene. That's her. Said rescue worker raised her voice as if she too had just remembered. Ah, you're the kids who reported that accident, aren't you? Huh, you remember? I'm touched. Touched? The first time I saw your rescue work in action, I became an instant fan. You were so awesome. It's not that big a deal, I was only assigned to that squad last month. Is that so? But still, that's all the more awesome. Just a short time after you got assigned, you're already doing dramatic rescues? The worker blushed as Mashido showered her with praise. It's not like I do it for the praise, but I really do appreciate it. Seeing that smile gave Natsuhiko an impression. I see, and guess she genuinely likes helping people out. He thought it made her a noble person. It also made him feel like a commoner in comparison. Yeah, she's a very noble person until she tries to murder you with an engine cover. Anyway, but Mashido on the other hand seemed to take a liking to her. She cheerfully introduced herself. Ah, I'm Mashido Tolpa, and these are my friends. Hi, I'm Natsuhiko Tenkawa. Louise, Yui Sanamiya. Huh? Oh, you're half Japanese. Guess I should have expected the fabled Rokume Academy to be international to boot. By the way, I'm Jun Motobe. Call me Jun. Okay, nice to meet you, Jun. Still, I didn't expect them to send in a rescue team for an accident like that. Yeah, you're right, don't you usually mobilise for more large-scale disasters? Well, the thing is, we just happened to be deployed on a different case nearby that day, so we got contacted on our way back, so we rushed over there. Being on a rescue squad means going from mission to mission. It ain't no cakewalk, that's for sure. Sounds tough. Nah, but still, I'm doing this because I like it. But Jun, what made you decide to enlist in a rescue squad to begin with? I think it must be super tough for a girl to be a rescue squad member. Jun pondered that question for a moment before answering. Don't laugh, but I guess it's because I wanted to be a hero. A hero? Yeah, I've always looked up to them ever since I was a kid. Natsuhiko found himself intrigued by her words. Someone's actually living up my childhood dream. Natsuhiko himself had wished to be that sort of person at one point, and so did Mashido. I know exactly what you mean. When I was a kid, I too swore to myself that I'd protect this town I so dearly love. Haha, you've got a promise. You've got promise, I tell you that. Once you graduate from here, you should enlist in the firefighter academy. That's kind of rare, isn't it? A girl wanting to become a hero instead of a heroine? To be honest, ever since I was a kid, I've been something of a tomboy. I always wanted to be the hero who saves people instead of the heroine who needs to be saved. So I thought, if I wanted to be a real-life hero, I guess a rescue worker would be the closest thing. It's kind of tough to define what exactly a hero is, but saving people's lives is pretty damn heroic, I'd say. Yeah, I think so too. There's nothing more valuable than the treasure of life. Oh, you're such a good girl. There. Mashido smiled as Jun patted her on the head. These two kind of seem like they're on the same wavelength. If nothing else, both Jun and Mashido seem to enjoy helping people. As Natsuhiko pondered the similarity, Jun continued. Well, to be honest, pretty much everyone who joins Sirius is kind of like that, I guess. The pay is low and the job's hard, and yet there's no end to those who want to join nonetheless. Now that I think about it, there was another female member, wasn't there? Yeah, that's our lieutenant. And she's amazing, no matter how dangerous the situation is. She calmly leaps in and gets the job done flawlessly. She's a perfect woman. That's cool too. If the lieutenant's like that, then what's the captain like? Oh, the captain? The captain's a little, Jun made a slightly bitter face at that thought. A little what? Wait, don't tell me there's something wrong with him. No, not at all. He's super elite too, but he's just a little bit too cool-headed for me. Kinda dry too. Even Natsuhiko and Mashido could tell she was struggling to find the right words. Does his personality clash with Jun's maybe? As soon as he pondered that possibility, Jun looked at her watch and spoke up. Whoa, would you look at the time? Oh, were you busy? Actually, I came here for work, to give some disaster prevention guidance, see? Oh, is that so? I'm sorry for taking up your time. Ah, no, it's okay, it's okay. I had fun talking with you guys. That's only yellow, we're good. Well, don't hesitate to call if something happens. Later. I don't see how red ones can even happen in the school. What's gonna happen? We fall out a window? And with that, Jun waved her hand and left. Mashido muttered as she watched her leave. She was so cool. Mashido's face lit up in admiration. Natsuhiko reflected on the conversation Jun and Mashido had just had. There's nothing more valuable than the treasure of life, huh? Now that I think about it, I might have said something like that a long time ago. How long ago was the question? As if unlocked by the heat of the moment, another door in Natsuhiko's memories opened wide. After Mashido and Natsuhiko decided to keep Sirius at the park, they would take care of him enthusiastically. When Yuri learned about the situation, she also worked hard to help out. In the end, Sirius did not go hungry, which was a big relief to Natsuhiko. But that relief would not continue for long. One day, about a month after they started keeping Sirius, Yuri gave Natsuhiko and Mashido an ominous warning. Hey guys, have you heard? Heard what? Oh, recently healthcare center people have been rounding up stray dogs. Rounding up stray dogs? Well, they say it's part of their town beautification project, so they have to gather every last stray dog. What happens to those dogs? They say they get put down. Natsuhiko and Mashido's body shook at those words. Serious? Natsuhiko and Mashido ran through the park. Yuri stayed put since they told her it was dangerous. Serious? Serious? Mashido shouted in every which way. She feared that perhaps he'd already been taken away, but at the very next moment... Sirius came flying out of the woods. Sirius? Oh, thank goodness! Masato sighed in relief. But you know, soon enough, the healthcare center will find him. Even a child Natsuhiko's age could imagine that. The stray dog roundup was happening all across the city, so no matter where he went, he'd be found eventually. Do you think if I asked Mum or someone we could figure something out? But they'd been keeping him in the park because nobody could take him in. Even if they'd made him a collar or a doghouse, the adults would see Sirius as nothing but a stray. But even so, they couldn't just abandon him. No, Masato. Huh? Let's save Sirius ourselves. Masato gulped as Natsuhiko said that. I wanted to, but how? That's what we need to start planning out. We can never ever give up and just abandon Sirius, because there's nothing more valuable than the treasure of life. That was another line Natsuhiko stole from a hero he was obsessed with at the time, but it seemed to have resonated in Masato's heart. There sure isn't. We gotta do something or Sirius will die, right? Exactly. Natsuhiko and Masato nodded at each other and then looked to Sirius. Sirius, we swear we'll save you. Natsuhiko remembered the serious expression on Masato's face back then. Didn't seem like Masato changed one bit since those days. Masato's grown and become more feminine in some regards, but I guess she's still the same as she always was. She'd abide by her own kindness at all costs, and as long as her conscience told her to do so, she'd go through any danger at all. So perhaps it's only natural she'd admire Jun so much for working hard and earnestly for that same goal even as an adult. As Natsuhiko reminisced, Salyu interrupted by tugging at his sleeve. Guys? Can we go now? Lunch break's about to end. Huh? Oh. When he looked at his watch, Natsuhiko realized there was only 40 minutes left of lunch break. What? That's not about to end. How long is your lunch break, for Christ's sake? My bad. You must be hungry, right? Near my limit. Okay, how about we head to the roof? The three of them hurried up the stairs. Lunch break ended, and thus the first afternoon class began. It was a special lecture from a visiting guest. Not that guest lectures were all that rare, but Okume Academy actively contacted outside research institutions and enterprises for industry academic cooperation. And the guest lecturer of the day was someone Natsuhiko knew very well, his mum. Oh no, Ukita. Good afternoon, I'm a researcher at the 6th Laboratory of Atomic and Biological Organization. Keiji Ukita is my name. Indeed, Ukita was a staff member at Labo, just like Natsuhiko's mother. He was the guest lecturer today. Ukita seemed a little awkward and unaccustomed to giving lectures, but appeared to be in good health at least. Masato whispered gently into Natsuhiko's ear from the next seat. Hey, I guess Mr. Ukita's injuries from that accident weren't all that bad, huh? Seems like it. That's a relief. That said, it was quite unfortunate that he had to fulfill an extra work duty like this right after an accident. Ukita himself seemed a little uneasy about Natsuhiko and Masato's glances as he began to strain himself to speak. Let's see. Well, today I'm here to talk to you kids about nuclear power. This is important information that everyone living in the city should know. Nuclear power. The topic was even a part of Rokume Academy's peculiar curriculum. But Natsuhiko was as bad at this subject as he was with BC. It's not like I can like to learn it. But Ukita came all the way out here for a guest lecture, so Natsuhiko thought he might as well try to listen seriously for once today. When studying nuclear energy, one thing that he must first learn is the dreadfulness of radioactivity. It may have happened nearly half a century ago, but you've probably all heard of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster in Ukraine. It's still known today as the greatest man-made disaster in recorded history. Ukita spoke in a bitter voice. Essentially, what happened in that incident is that the power plant's nuclear reactor melted down. Basically, the reactor core suffered a meltdown and subsequently exploded, spreading as much as 10 tons of radioactive material all over the place. It was the equivalent of 500 atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima, causing enormous casualties. The residents of the vicinity and the firefighters sent in to handle the accident were hit the hardest. Over 3,000 of them died, and the number only rose after that. Even to this day we don't know exactly how many died, but the number is estimated to be in the hundreds of thousands. Ukita's voice gradually intensified, filling the classroom with tension. The reason there were so many deaths is definitely linked to the radioactive material. From the explosions and fires came what we call atomic dust, which proceeded to float up into the sky and then fall back down to the earth with rain. And this is the truly terrifying part, it was not just limited to an ordinary explosion. The devastating effects spread to the surrounding regions. The people soaked in the tainted rain developed severe fatal symptoms, neurological disorders, brain dysfunctions, genetic abnormalities, and cancer. Natsuhiko gulped as Ukita continued. With its own nuclear power plant, the city was once a luxurious, wealthy metropolis, but overnight, that very power plant made the city an inhospitable wasteland. Over 120,000 residents were forced to evacuate. The effects of the pollution continue to this day, and it is said the area will remain unsafe for another 900 years. As Ukita continued, the solemn silence spread through the classroom. With that out of the way, we at Labo have a nuclear reactor for research purposes. In the off chance that there is a meltdown and the radioactive material spreads, there's a possibility that the very same thing could happen to this town. Those words sparked tension in the room, but Ukita soon continued, or at least that's what a lot of people fear, but that will definitely never happen. First of all, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant had an extremely careless management structure, which is what allowed the accident to even happen. But Labo has a layer upon layer of perfected systems to counter any unforeseen circumstances, and with that Ukita fiddled with the PC at hand, upon which the screen displayed an image of Labo. We at Labo have a perfected system to deal with every sort of disaster imaginable. The nuclear reactor's surveillance and control is continually managed by a supercomputer, protecting it from any accident or malfunction. And in the unlikely event of that supercomputer failing, emergency shutdown of the nuclear reactor is possible from the remote control room or on the service floor. Furthermore, 3 nuclear reactor control systems with 6-fold reserve energy guarantee emergency support. In addition to the firefighting and disaster prevention systems, we also have flawless defense systems to prevent intrusion. The nuclear reactor itself is underground, and the area where it's contained is made to be particularly rugged. The reactor area could be hit by an explosion, an earthquake, or an aeroplane crash and still not break. In other words, a repeat of the Chernobyl disaster will never, ever happen again. So please rest assured, kids, we at Labo will not cause any sort of accident, okay? Ukita looked around the classroom as he spoke. An air of relief filled the class, upon which Masato timidly raised a question. Mr. Professor Ukita? What if an accident still manages to happen? May I take that to mean when an accident does happen, how do we handle it? Yes, I've heard that large-scale accidents have happened in the past, even here in this country. I see, allow me to explain then. Ukita used the PC to display a different image on the screen. First of all, modern facility construction technology and safety standards have advanced considerably compared to the past. Labo's interior walls and floors are, of course, designed to block out all leakage of radioactive material by nature, but in the unlikely event a leak occurs, the automatic radiation leakage prevention system activates. Several bulkheads and gates are installed on that lock down to completely shut out the scattering of radioactive material. Furthermore, the automatic reporting system tips the local fire station post-haste, allowing for the immediate dispatch of firefighters and a rescue squad to contain the accident and save lives. A rescue squad? Masato's expression stiffened. She was probably thinking of Jun. But would they be okay? Lots of firefighters passed away in Chernobyl, didn't they? You see, in those days they lacked sufficient knowledge and equipment to properly deal with nuclear accidents, but the situation's different now. Our city's rescue squad is trained to handle BC disasters after all. What are NBC disasters? NBC stands for nuclear, biological and chemical, so it's a general term for disasters dealing with dangerous radioactivity, microbes and or chemical substances. If we at Labo were to experience a disaster, it would be an N disaster, that is, a nuclear disaster. Our research squad is equipped with protection suits to defend against strong radiation when they deploy. Also, if those in the facility become in danger of radiation exposure, we also have a drug that can neutralize radioactive material and expel it from the body. Those items are the fruit of Labo's research and development, and are extremely effective at life-saving. Ukita continued with a considerable force behind his voice. However, all of these things are available for us as insurance, nothing more. We at Labo have learned from the mistakes of nuclear disasters like Chernobyl, and rather than handling accidents that occur, we concentrate our efforts more heavily on preventing accidents from ever occurring. All of those insurances I've explained will most likely never need to be used, for all eternity. So everything will be fine? After hearing all the explanation, an expression of relief rose up on Masato's face. Sorry for asking a weird question. Not at all, if it helped eliminate any uneasiness you had, that's all that matters. Ukita himself sighed seemingly in relief before he continued. Anyway, with those systems as our insurance, we at Labo conduct various forms of research using our nuclear reactor. For example, one subject of research we began in recent years. Ukita began talking about research conducted at Labo, but Natsuhiko was completely inattentive. He couldn't get his mind off the safety measures Ukita had talked about. They better have improved their safety measures. That's the thought that came to mind. And they recalled what Jun had said. Well, don't hesitate to call if something happens. Later. In the unlikely event an accident occurs, Jun will have to dispatch, huh? He hoped from the bottom of his heart that would never come to that. Natsuhiko looked to the sky outside the window. The sky had been clear just a while ago, but dark clouds have covered it before he'd noticed. That's a little depressing. Natsuhiko shook off that feeling and refocused on Ukita's lecture. Eventually, the 2 hours of the special lecture, including a break, came to a smooth close. That's all I have for the lecture. Thank you for paying attention, students. And with that, Ukita left the classroom. As Natsuhiko stretched out wide, Mashido spoke up. Hey Natsuhiko, let's go greet Mr. Ukita. Alright. Now that he thought about it, Natsuhiko did remember something he wanted to ask Ukita. Okay, sit tight for a second, Sally. Mashido and Natsuhiko left Salio in the classroom as they followed Ukita out. When they got out to the hallway, they caught sight of him walking away. Good job, Professor Ukita. Oh, Natsuhiko, Mashido, anything I can help you with? If you have complaints about the lecture, please forgive me, it's not something I'm particularly accustomed to. No, it's not like that at all. We were just worried if you were okay after that accident. You said your ribcage hurt after all. Thanks for your concern, however, they took an x-ray at the hospital and everything looked okay. I'm actually almost grateful since I was able to use the accident as an excuse to take 2 days off from work. Thank goodness. I was so worried. Natsuhiko cut in as Mashido sighed in relief. By the way, Mr. Ukita? What is it? After the accident, you said that strange things might start happening to me, didn't you? Ukita's expression stiffened at those words. Now that you mention it, yeah, I did indeed say that, didn't I? What do you mean by that? Yes, well, after a short pause, Ukita spoke in a subdued voice. Well, actually, this is nothing more than hearsay, but there's apparently been an increase in those that harbour anti-communicator sentiments in town lately. Huh? No way, but Rokume City is supposed to encourage BC research. It's not as if everyone shares that sentiment, though. Natsuhiko used such powerful mass untargeted telepathy in the middle of town. According to a friend of mine, they could apparently hear that get away from there as far as 1 kilometre away. 1 kilometre? Indeed, I was worried that if some of those BC haters had heard the telepathy, they might harm you. So that's what it was. Natsuhiko shuddered a bit at the unexpected answer. Outside of the school, use of BC was prohibited by city ordinance. They were taught that the reasoning behind the ordinance was for manners, so they wouldn't surprise other people, but perhaps the real reason was to not provoke the townspeople. Oh no, a few days ago I used telepathy to stop a bus too. Now that you mention it, that was mass untargeted telepathy too. No, calm down you two. It's only dangerous in the case of powerful telepathy. Normal telepathy from normal communicators shouldn't be that much of an issue. It's not that much more of a nuisance than shouting really loud after all. I see, thank goodness. That said, it still wouldn't hurt to be careful, especially you, Natsuhiko. So Natsuhiko, you haven't been recklessly using telepathy after that, have you? No, in fact, we haven't even been using it not recklessly. Actually, I haven't been able to use it once since. That one time was more like a fluke than anything. I see, maybe there's no need to worry then. Ukita's expression relaxed and he continued, well, I think it might just be me needlessly worrying, but still, keep it in mind. Now then, I'll be heading back to Labo. I've still got some of my real work to do. Okay, thank you. Good job with the lecture. Ukita waved his hand at Natsuhiko and Mashido farewell as he left the hallway. Now that was kind of ominous. Yeah, it was amazing how much that telepathy of yours reached as far as 1 kilometre though. At any rate, it'd be best to hold back on untargeted telepathy use. Sure, I've been a little careless myself. Mashido sounded a little bit frightened as she spoke. You worried, Mashido? Huh? It'll be fine, Mr. Ukita said so himself, right? I mean, he said that normal telepathy isn't that much different from yelling really loud. Yeah, I know. Why do you ask? Do I look that uneasy? A little. What? Don't tell me you're worried about little old me. I guess. That was a little blunt. You're kind of throwing me off here. What's wrong with me worrying about you? Mashido suddenly smiled as she heard that. Natsuhiko, that has to be just about the only part of you that... Right as Mashido started to speak, she heard a voice from behind. Hey you two, what do you think you're doing out here? Afternoon homeroom's about to start. She turned around to see Ina. Ah, okay. Natsuhiko and Mashido rushed back into the classroom. And then after an ordinary homeroom came to a close, school ended. Mashido, Sally, shall we head home? Okay, let's go, Sally. And together they left the classroom. All the while ignoring the clamour of voices, both real and telepathic. School's over, Shin. Shall we head straight up to the roof? Yeah, sure, Benazaki. But come on. You can say that without using telepathy. Where's the harm? I'm sure at least a few people enjoy listening to us. You think so? There are. I know I do. Huh? Who are you? You know, the guy always playing baseball on the sports grounds. They call me Pitcher Tanaka. Literally who? Forget it. Just get to the roof already. Okay. Whoa, there's already a huge crowd here. They're all just nosy. Everyone's got too much time on their hands. Is Mr. Nameless gonna show up? How's the roof? I can't see from here. Someone go check. Roger, this is Pitcher Tanaka. One girl is on the roof. There is no boy. That girl must be Miss Munakata, eh? So Mr. Nameless hasn't shown up. He could show up with such a crowd. Couldn't show up with such a crowd gathered here, you know? He's shy and all. Oh no, oh no, oh no, that means it'll all be for nothing. Hey, all you onlookers, scram. Everyone who gets in the way of love should get kicked in the mouth by a horse and die. Oh no, they're not scramming at all. Miss Munakata looks really uncomfortable. And that's where I came in. Hello everyone, it's Angel Kamiya, etc. Wait, hold on a sec, what's with this, with that timing? This isn't where you can come in at all, back off. No, let me talk first. There's something I want to say to Mr. Nameless. Okay, I approve. Speak your heart out, Angel Kamiya. Thank you, foolish stranger. Now then, are you listening, Mr. Nameless? As the Light Music Club's hack of a vocalist, I've been showering in the scorn of the entire student population, and yet, still I sing. But do you know why? It's because no matter how much they laugh, there's still something I want to get through to them. And I'm sure there's something you want to get through to Miss Munakata, no matter how many people look at you funny. This is neither the time nor the place to shy away. Go now, or you'll never forgive yourself. He's actually said something respectable. Now, if only he'd worked that hard to actually sing properly. But, Kamiya's right, Mr. Nameless. If you don't go now, Miss Munakata will be the only one people will look at funny, you know? So come out here and save her already. Yeah, that's a really good thing to say. That might actually be why all the onlookers suddenly went quiet. Here's your chance, Nameless. Go for it. Show her you're a man. Look, someone's stepping forth from the crowd. What? Could that be Mr. Nameless? Everyone shut up. How long do you expect me to make me wait? I'm sorry. Oh, whatever. Anyway. So that's what you look like, huh? People often make fun of me for looking like a girl. I can tell. More importantly, Miss Munakata, our telepathy... Huh? Everyone can hear it. It's embarrassing. It's a little late for that now, but you're right. Let's speak in our own voices now. Okay. Did everyone hear that conversation just now? Yeah, so that's youth. Now that's youth for you. Yep, that's youth. Huh? I didn't hear. Can someone give us an update? Nah, I'm not that tasteless, man. I'm so touched. What a grand scene, Angel Kamiya. I'm impressed. Okay, everybody, here we go. A song from the Light Music Club to our future couple. Myself, yourself. Like I said, play an original song for once. Well, whatever. We can let it slide for today. As they pass through the hallway, Masato asked the other two a question. Hey, should we drop by somewhere on the way back? Nah, let's head straight home today. I agree, I just want to enjoy a chat over a nice dinner with you all. Oh my, that's a cute thing to say. Well, we have been going out every day lately, so let's just relax a bit at home today. Yeah, unlike yesterday's trip back from school, today was strangely calm and relaxing. So much so they almost completely forgot about what Ukita had said. When they left the school building, it was dim and gloomy outside. It looks like it could rain any second now, huh? Natsuhiko looked up at the sky in response, and sure enough, it looked like it could start pouring any moment. Oh boy, I hope we can at least make it home before it starts raining. The moment Natsuhiko had that hope, drop by drop, the rain began to fall. Ah crap, it really is starting to fall. Now that sucks, I didn't bring an umbrella. Let's get on the bus, it should be here soon enough. They looked at the bus stop in front of the school, just as the bus began to arrive. Oh, good timing. What a lifesaver. And the three of them boarded the bus as they chatted amongst themselves. It was a little crowded inside. There were probably other people who rushed to board the bus after the rain started to fall too. Natsuhiko let Saliu and Masato sit in the seats and stood next to them. Oh, if only the weather were nicer. I would have liked to go out for a while. Why do you always want to go out? Huh? What, more shopping? I mean, Saliu still doesn't know this town at all, right? I did look around a little on the first day, but I'll admit I still don't know that much. I see, I guess you're right. Natsuhiko thought for a second before speaking. Well, the day after tomorrow's a Sunday, how about we go around town then? Ah, sounds good. Masato's eyes gleamed at Natsuhiko's proposal. Usually Natsuhiko spent his Sundays with Yuri, but just this once probably wouldn't hurt. Well, that said, there's nothing really to see in terms of tourist attractions. It is kind of an odd city after all. That's fine. Then how about we go look at some of the research facilities that allow it? Also, if at all possible, there's a little more shopping I'd like to do. Huh? Did you think of something you want to buy? Books. I did just bring one book from home, but I want more. Huh? Just one book? Did you not bring anything else? Anything else? You mean like everyday necessities? No, not like that. I mean, did you bring anything like keepsakes of your home or anything? Nothing. Huh? Really now? Natsuhiko was a little surprised to hear that too. If I were 13 and moved away from my family to a far away country, I think I'd get pretty homesick. I don't harbour that sort of emotion at all. I have no particular attachment to my hometown. I see. And what do you think about this town? Think you get any emotional attachment here? Hard to judge. I don't know for sure if I like it or hate it. Oh boy, that's kind of blunt. Well, she just got to Japan recently, so I can't tell for certain if she likes it or hates it yet. Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, let's just set that question aside for now. But still, regardless, I'd like to go shopping with you two. I see. Then pardon me for being forward, but allow me to pick some titles from the 90s golden age of sci-fi for you to try. There are so many legendary titles to choose from, like Neon Genocide Vanguard, and Ghost in the Core. I've never heard of those titles, very interesting. Those weren't books but anime titles, but Natsuhiko didn't have the heart to say it. I love Ghost in the Core, that's my favourite. Natsuhiko, is there anything else you want to buy? No, not in particular. That's a little boring. I know, let's pick out clothes for Natsuhiko this time. Huh? No, you don't need to. Why not? You've actually got some nice looks to start out with, so you can't let it go to waste by being plain all the time. Oh there, you don't want to make me your next dress-up doll, do you? I guess you could look at it that way too. Natsuhiko smiled wryly at Mashido's playfulness, but he had to admit, going shopping as a group did seem like fun. Well, fine, I guess it might be nice to go shopping every now and then. Okay, so the day after tomorrow, we go around the city and go shopping too. I'm sure it'll be fun. Oh man, can the day after tomorrow come any sooner? As soon as Mashido said that, their eyes opened wide as if she'd noticed something. What's wrong? Natsuhiko called out to her dubiously, but Mashido didn't answer. Far from it, she just stared straight ahead without saying a word. Her face just froze abruptly. Something was clearly wrong. Natsuhiko got worried and whispered to her, "Hey, Mashido! Hey!" That's when Mashido slowly turned back and looked at Natsuhiko, as if she'd come back to her senses. Natsuhiko? What's wrong? Did something just happen? Mashido looked around the bus, stammering. What's wrong? Natsuhiko looked around the bus too, but he didn't see anything happening. Everyone was just sitting quietly in their seats. Honestly, what's wrong? Mashido didn't answer for a while, but eventually she spoke with a smile. Sorry, it's nothing. You call that nothing? Actually, I had the feeling someone just told us to shut up. Huh? Oh yeah, I guess we did get a little carried away. Oh no, I'll reflect on my actions too. Yeah, let's bring it down a notch. That said, Natsuhiko was actually relieved at Mashido's answer. The three of them then quietly waited to reach their destination. Once they got quiet, the bus filled with silence. But occasionally, grrr, Alice would faintly growl. Aside from that, the bus was silent. Welcome home everyone. When they got back to the house, they were greeted by Yuri. We're home, Yuri. Man, it was so terrible because of the rain. Mashido already seemed back to her cheerful self. She spoke as she headed toward the kitchen. Okay, I'll start making dinner. I'm going all out today, so sit tight. And with that, Mashido made spaghetti with an elaborate sauce. Dinner that day ended peacefully, but after dinner, Natsuhiko put the dishes away. Mashido whispered to him with a meek look on her face. Say, Natsuhiko. What is it? There's something I want to talk about. You got a moment? Huh? What is it? I'm sorry, but it's a little... Mashido glanced at the sofa. Yuri and Sally were relaxing there reading books. Is something to be bad if they heard? It wouldn't be bad, it's just I don't want to make them worry. Natsuhiko didn't have the slightest idea of what Mashido was trying to say. Okay, let's go to my room. And with that, Natsuhiko led Mashido to his room. Go ahead, Mashido. Pardon the intrusion. Mashido shyly entered after being invited in. So what do you want to talk about? Well, I'm really not sure if I should tell you about it or not. Will you promise to believe me if I tell you? Yeah, of course. Thanks. Mashido replied and then meekly whispered, Okay then, Natsuhiko, listen closely. Before long, someone in the city is apparently going to attempt an act of terrorism. What? Natsuhiko doubted his ears. He never expected to hear the word terrorism. Terrorism? Mashido, under no circumstances is that... I'm not joking, I'm serious. I'm sorry, I promised I'd believe you. But what makes you say that all of a sudden? Remember how I suddenly went quiet on the bus back home today? Huh? Oh yeah. Now that she mentioned it, that did happen. Mashiro said she heard someone complain about the noise level. I do remember, what about it? What I heard back then wasn't shut up. It was someone talking to themselves about something much more terrifying. One of the passengers was muttering to himself. He was so quiet I couldn't catch all of it though. What did he say? Communicators are an abomination. I have to put an end to this town's history. D-Day is near. It did indeed sound like a hint to a terrorist plot. I was startled. I panicked and tried to listen more closely, but then the man fell silent. I thought that maybe I misheard him, so I still couldn't get it out of my mind. It's kind of frightening me more and more. Mashiro's voice oozed with fear. Her face was pale and her shoulders shook little by little. There was something strange about her. Hey Mashiro, are you okay? I'm okay, I just got a little scared remembering it, that's all. Well, more importantly, I've been thinking. Maybe that man's one of those anti-communicator extremists they've talked about on the news. Mashiro had also heard about those extremists. For one of them to be muttering to himself sounded a little eerie, but believable enough. Perhaps this incident also had something to do with how Ukita had said there was a rise in people who did not like communicators in town. Did you see his face? Well, no, I didn't really get a good look. But if I see him again, I'll know him for sure. Well, here we go. Mashiro focused hard on Natsuhiko as she spoke. Oh shit, what did I do? So, we're the only ones who've noticed this, aren't we? So in that case, we gotta thwart the terrorism ourselves. Whoa, calm down there, Mashiro. Just because he said that to himself doesn't necessarily mean he's a terrorist, you know? Huh? For example, if someone said that to themselves they wanted to kill someone, that doesn't mean they actually go out and murder them, right? That's not it, he was honest to God terrorist. What makes you so sure? Because he... Mashiro swallowed her words. She seemed unable to find how to continue. So you don't have any basis to make that accusation, do you? Even if you really were a terrorist, there's nothing we can do to thwart him, is there? So you're just saying we should just leave him be because there's nothing we can do? I'm just saying we're nothing but high school students. There's no need for us to go out there and try and stop him ourselves, is there? Natsuhiko, are you serious? Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not like my first instinct to hearing this story would be, well, let's go and stop him, would it? In his heart of hearts, Natsuhiko did not truly believe Mashiro's story, but he spoke genuinely, gently as to not hurt her feelings. If it really bothers you that much, you should report it to the police or the city security department. That's the best we can do. What comes next doesn't concern us. Of course it concerns us. Our town is being targeted, you know. There might be something we could do besides just sending in reports. Don't wait for someone else to protect what you hold dear. Protect it with your own hands. Isn't that right, Natsuhiko? Natsuhiko was a little shocked. Mashiro's words sounded a little melodramatic to him. Is that another one of your favourite quotes? Huh? Haven't I told you before? Just because you think something is right doesn't mean it's right to do it. Self-righteousness just leads to danger. Well, when Mashiro heard that, she just smiled sadly. Natsuhiko, you really have changed. It was his quote, wasn't it? No, I haven't. I've always been like this. No, you have changed. Even though I tried to stop you back then. Back then? He couldn't for the life of him remember what she was talking about. If something like that did happen, it must have been far in the past. Eventually, a door to Natsuhiko's memory opened. That's right. It was that day 9 years ago. And we're going to wrap this one up here. I know, cliffhangers again. What a bastard. But don't worry, we'll be back for more tomorrow. 9 years ago, isn't that when Yuri's got messed up and then she would stay in the house and would never leave and shit? Maybe, I can't remember. Guess we'll find out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.